Hello everyone. Today we will make a dashboard which was originally made in another language. So today we will be implementing internet users by countries from 1990 to 2012 dashboard in Excel. You can see here that the original dashboard was implemented using Python and D3 languages, but we will do the same thing in Excel. And I got this from the visualizing.org website. And for some reason, when I tried to show you how the dashboard looks like in action, and it's giving me an error. No problem, you can just take this link. You can go to visualizing.org website, search for this, and then see it in action. Now the first thing that we are going to need to make a dashboard is data. So we need the data here cited as World Development Indicators. So we go to the World Development Indicators website. It's basically the World Bank website, and here you have all the indicators available. So I can search for an indicator. In this case, I can search for GDP. And as you can see, I have the entire GDP data in front of me, year-wise, country-wise, and I can download it in the whatever format I wish. So I can download it in Excel, XML or CSV. I'll just show you in one data how it can be downloaded. See, it's country-wise, year-wise. The GDP data is actually given in US dollars. It's given in the current US dollars. Now in case of this dashboard, let's just go back to this once again. You will see that on the x-axis we have GDP per capita, on the y-axis we have internet users per 100, and the size of the bubble is decided by the size of the population. So we need three sets of data. One set of data is GDP per capita, another set of data is internet users per countries, and the third set of data is the population data. So I've shown you how to download one set of data. In our case, what we will do is we will only use data from 2000 to 2011. You can take data for any number of years that you wish for. It is entirely up to you. So you can delete your data, you can delete all the countries that you don't want the data for, and you can basically format your data to look something like this. So this is my internet users data, this is my GDP data, GDP per capita data, and this is my population data. Now you can see that the GDP data per capita is somewhere of the order of magnitude 100 or 1 to 10,000 something. Internet users is also 0 to 100 because it's internet users per 100. And while the population data is really a huge number. So on a same scale, it will be difficult to plot three different data sets with very different magnitude. So what we are going to do is we are going to normalize the population. That is, I take this population data, I find the minimum, and then I divide each figure by that. So for example, I find out that minimum of this is say some 10,000. 10,000 is the minimum population of any country. I'll divide all these numbers by 10,000, and that's how I get the population normalized data. Again, if you're not convinced, if you think this data is this step is completely unnecessary, or your data is really not that varying in terms of scale, you can completely skip this step. So now that we have our data, the next what we are going to do is I'll close the World Bank file. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one dashboard sheet here. This sheet is going to contain my actual dashboard. So that is what I name it as, the dashboard sheet. The first thing that I'm going to do here is add a scroll bar. This is my spin button and this is my scroll bar. Add it somewhere below so that you have adequate space for dashboard at the top. I'll add my title here. So my title is Internet Users. I'll increase the font size. Shift it a little left and underline it. This way I have now this much of space available for putting my chart. Now we need to format the scroll bar. So I click on the scroll bar, right click, and I go to format control. This is what I get. Now as the scroll bar moves, the year is going to change. The year for which the data is going to be displayed is going to change. The minimum value of a year is 2000. And the maximum year for which we are plotting the data is 2011. Incremental change 1 means when we click on the scroll bar once, by how much is it going to increment itself. So if the initial value of scroll bar is 2000, then when you click it once, the year will be incremented by 1. That is, it will become as 2001. Cell link is going to be my, cell link is where the value associated with scroll bar is going to change. For that we need to do something. Just click OK here, add another sheet. This is my added sheet. Name it as control sheet. Now go back to my scroll bar, format control, cell link, go to control sheet and make it as D6. In front of D6 you can write year, here selected. Now just to get an idea of how it works, I'll show it to you. You can see the scroll bar moving and you can see the year selected automatically moving along with it. So that is where the scroll bar really helps us in changing our data and hence helping the chart move. Now what we are going to do is, we are going to go to one of the data sheets and we see that our data runs from 2000 to 2011. Make sure that your data is consistent. Sometimes what happens is, in one sheet you may have the data only up till 2011 and another sheet you may have it up till 2012. So to get rid of all these problems, what you should be really doing is checking the data consistency across your sheets. So in this case, since I want to plot only data from 2000 to 2012, I make sure 2011, I'll make sure that all data subscribes to that. Now my list of years is basically, I'll just type my years somewhere here. Now I will put something here called as index number. For this I will use a match formula. Now you can see the match, what is the description given for match. Match function returns the relative position of an item in an array that matches a specified value in a specified order. So what match function will do is, it will find out the relative position of 2000 in this array and then return the position of it. So we know that 2000 is at first position in this array. Suppose if I change my scroll bar, you can see the match function's value changing. This is very important to us and this is what exactly will be used to change our data and plot it. Now add one more sheet which is called as data for plotting. For this, from any of the data sheets, GDP or population or internet users, select the first three columns copy and paste them here. Make sure that all the data is sorted based on the continent. That is, all the African countries are together, all the Asian countries are together, all the European countries are together, North America, South America, Oceania. We cannot have a mix-up of the data, in the sense that this cannot be, one African country cannot be followed by another Asian country, then a European country, and then another Asian country. All the countries lying in one particular continent have to be together in this case. You can remove the second column as it's really not required. Now here, to plot the data, to plot a bubble chart, we need three parameters: X, Y and size. X is our GDP here, Y is our internet users per 100, and size is the size of the bubble, is the amount of population. So to find out this, I'm going to use a simple index formula. Since X is my GDP data, I'll go here. The row number remains the same. So I'll go to the column number. Now to specify the column number, I'll use this. We will make sure that we freeze this reference. Here we have our X data. Similarly, we do it for the internet users data. So I go to my sheet, internet users data. I double click and I get my data. Similar is to be done for the population data. Sorry about that. Format it. Now that we are done with our data, we are going to do something here, which is actually inserting the sheet. So for that, what I do is I select these three columns of data, insert, and I go to bubble chart. Okay. Now we want to show countries by different continents, in the sense that we want to show each continent in a different color. So what we have to do it is, for that, first of all, just take this chart out and stick it to the original dashboard sheet. Now go to chart design, select data, and remove the sheet that has already been plotted. Now add it here. First series is going to be Africa. The X values of it are given by C2 to C54. That's why it's important to have all the countries in a particular continent together, so that you can easily choose and put that for plotting. Same is to be done for the bubble size. See, we have added our first series. Now we do the same thing for another series, that is Asia. T55 to T96, and this is going to be E55 to E96. So that's how we are going to add series. So now as you can see, I've added the series for Asia, Europe, North America, Oceania, South America. You can check each of them individually and see how it's done. Okay, now that we have finally plotted our chart, we need to do something which is very important, and that is formatting it. So I first select the Y chart, I right click and I go to format axis. Now the Y axis is internet users per 100. That means the minimum users are going to be 0 and not -20, because users can never be this thing, negative. And the same way the maximum is going to be 100, because we are measuring people, how many people out of 100 are using internet. So that is again going to be, sorry about that, it's going to be 0 to 100. And that's what I'm going to do here. Now comes to my y-axis. For x-axis, that is GDP per capita, I'm going to first of all make it as a logarithmic scale with a base of 10. Don't worry about that pop-up too much. And I'm going to keep the minimum as 1 and this one as 1 million. Let me see how many. Yeah, that's correct. And I remove all these grid lines because I don't need them. I also don't need these grid lines either. What you can do is you can go to design, grid lines, more grid lines options, and no line. That makes you, as you get rid of your grid lines. Now I need to add a legend here. So I add a legend on top which tells me which color stands for each of the continents. And if you can see this thing, see, you can see there is one big rectangle here which tells you, there's one big way of telling you which tells you which year is actually running. So to get that effect, what I'm going to do is insert shapes. Yeah, insert and shapes. Format it so that it has no fill. It does not have a boundary either, which is no this thing. And with the shape selected, go to the formula bar, type equal to, and press enter. Now the 2011 is looking very small, so what we're going to do is we're going to make it a little big, and yeah, we might even change the font to a little more grayish. You can move it around a little bit. Now you can see the chart in action. What's really happening here is, I'll explain it again with the help of a new window. What really happens is that when you change a value in a scroll bar, the index number changes. Because the index number changes, the data for plotting also changes. You can see it changing. And because the data for plotting changes, since it's directly linked to the chart also automatically changes. So that's all that is there in this chart, and without the use of any macros, we have implemented a smooth looking chart. Thanks for watching this video, and please let me know if you have any comments or any doubts or clarifications in the comments. Thank you. Have a great day.